one of you has. Okay. So it's 9:02 already, and I welcome you all to the 58th session of Living Life today. We have been doing these sessions from last 57 nights, and we have a lot of regular people who have been attending these sessions. We have been into the field of training and development since last 14 years with the brand name Living Life, which was established by Rahul Jain, and I am a part of it now. Today's session is on a very, very interesting topic because most of us feel those jitters, those butterflies in our stomach whenever we are asked to speak impromptu. And that is why I thought, why not let you think of different ways in which you can probably speak on anything or any situation that comes in front of you. So before I get into the technicalities, let me first tell you what am I going to refer to impromptu over here. So any people who are from Toastmasters would assume that impromptu is about a 2-minute table topic which is given in a meeting, and that's all we understand from there. But we face so many situations in our life which are impromptu, like when we go to meet our friends and we are suddenly asked to introduce ourselves to somebody, or we go to a marriage function and we are asked to speak about our best friend who's getting married, or probably in our offices about a sales project or something which is related to an event that is going to come up, and you are asked to present your ideas in front of everybody suddenly. Now, why am I focusing suddenly all the time? Because in a normal scenario, when we have time to prepare for things, we know how to organize them. If I tell you in advance that you have to do a presentation, I'm sure you are going to spend hours and hours preparing that presentation because you would want it to be perfect. But what happens when you get a situation where you were not prepared and you were asked to speak? The first thing that happens is the cluttering of mind, as I call it. Now, what does this cluttering of mind mean? That you will either have thousands and thousands of thoughts in your mind where you will feel, I can speak this also, I can speak that also, but you don't know how to filter them. And the second situation is going blank, which happens to most of us, I suppose. As soon as we see that stage, from the time we are getting up from our chair and going to that stage to speak, our mind becomes blank. So blank that we even forget our name if we are supposed to introduce ourselves, our own name. That's how blank mind gets when it is about impromptu speaking. But most of us feel that there are people who are confident from the start. It's not something which I can develop. Impromptu speaking, there are people who are good at it and they don't need to practice. They don't need to develop a skill. They can just be perfect. But from the last 1 year, when I have been attempting so many situations where I had to speak impromptu, I understood that like any other skill, same is impromptu. You can develop it, you can grow in it, and you can also use techniques, which means it is art and it is science at the same point of time, right? Now, for example, I asked any one of you here in the meeting to give me a topic to or a situation to speak on, anything, whichever you feel like. And let's take the whole idea with the basis of an example. So any one of you who would want to give either a topic to me or a situation where I have to speak.
The most unforgettable experience in your life.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Life gives us so many unforgettable experiences, or probably we don't want to forget them. That's how our brain is wired, right? We do not have a delete button. Similarly, one incident that has been for me the most unforgettable hasn't been a good one. That one experience has been losing my grandmother. There are people in our life who have utmost importance to us, and we never feel that they can go away. We feel that they are going to stay forever. We feel that nothing is going to change. But things did change for me. They did. And I lost her. That has been one of the most unforgettable experiences for me in my life. So this is, you might be feeling that, okay, she has practiced it so many times, so it is easy for her to speak on so many things so easily, right? Raise your hand and tell me how many of you felt this thing. Probably on a virtual, you can use the reaction button or your own hand, whatever way you're comfortable.
Raise hand for what?
That you felt that I could speak on a particular topic because I've practiced it or I knew already about it.
Actually, I observed one thing.
So many times.
Intentionally delayed the process. Like, for example, from the initially you didn't start with the means telling the experience. That one I noticed. So yeah.
Okay. So now let us get into the different technical stuff of impromptu speaking. And the first thing I would start with would be you. Now, are you thinking, what does I have to do in it? You have to find out the kind of person you are as a speaker. Why do I say that? It's simple. Because just think about yourself. Many of you would always love speaking numbers, right? Anything which you want to start would be this many percentage of people are like this. There are people who would always want to refer to an incident, an event, or a person. Once upon a time, there was a person, or once upon a time, this particular situation happened with me and I was stuck in a jungle. You would refer to an incident, right? Similarly, there will be people who would always talk about pros and cons of a particular thing. So when you tell them a situation, they will be like, no, I think doing this thing would be good and this particular thing is good because of this. But there are also situations which you will face which are not good, right? So there will be people who would be always speaking about pros and cons. Similarly, there will be people who would always have an idea of whatever you say, they will speak a negative thing about it. Right. So if I tell you that honesty is the best policy, this person out of the blue moon will come and say that, no, honesty is not the best policy. I don't support this idea. And you will always try to build your story on that particular matter, that honesty is actually not the best policy. And if I have to speak about probably, is there any one particular way which is right or which is wrong? There is not. There's absolutely not. Everybody has a different style of building people. There will be people who would always share personal experiences. In every single thing, they will relate it to their life and they will talk about it. Now, I give you 10 seconds to first think of what kind of person are you, and then we will go ahead. You can probably write it in the chat box of what out of these things do you feel fits you. So first person is reference, who will always refer to a event, a situation, or something related to a person. Second person is number, somebody who loves percentages, who loves numbers, and all their speeches will always start with numbers. Second is pros and cons or comparison orientation. And or probably you can call it a profit or loss. So somebody would talk about what is the profit from that particular thing and what is the loss. So we have Umaji who says that event and situation is what she refers to. So she is a reference oriented person. What about others? Try thinking about it and noting down on the chat. Okay, so we have personal stories. Omar is a combination of all, depending on the situation. Okay, right. So now, why am I asking you to think of what kind of a person are you is because whenever I give you a situation or a topic, if you know that you want to refer to things, you will always build your stories on that basis. Now I understand that few of us are a mix. Depending on the situation, we will either use numbers or we will use references. But we will always have one peculiar format which we always follow. Right? In most of the times, if I am suddenly giving you a topic, that will be your peculiar format where you will either start building a story or you will start telling numbers or something like that. So try to find that out. And the core reason for that is once you know your style, the filtering process of what and how are you going to speak becomes easy. For example, I am a person who always refers to stories in time. I will always go back to situations which has happened before. I will always connect with something which has happened in my own life or somebody I know, and then speak on that particular topic. This comes to when you are given a topic. But what happens in situations where you are suddenly asked to speak in a toast or probably a friend's wedding? Here also, the people who have peculiar formats will start speaking in the same way. How? For example, somebody like me would always say, when we were kids, we have done all this. We were mischievous. Or, we used to do these particular things. We used to go to a particular place. We used to spend time there and things like these. Whereas a person who is number oriented, standing at a friend's wedding would say, 30 years I have known him, but he has never changed even 1%. I have seen him to be the same person forever and ever. Now, what did that person do? He used the number 30 because that person is number oriented, and he used 1% because without percentages, without numbers, these kind of people cannot speak on anything. Now, at the same level, if I have to draw a parallel, we can also divide the type of people into 4 other parts: time markers, people markers, place markers, and event markers. So the way I have told you all these 4-5 different types of people, you can also divide these people into time marker, people marker, place marker, event marker. What does that mean? Time marker will always go back to centuries, go back to years, go back to 1986, 1930, 1927 and all that. Whereas people marker would always go to either your relatives or the people you have seen, somebody in the history. So there are a lot of people who would start speaking like Martin Luther King did such a thing. So they will always go back to people. Place marker people would always start speaking from a place. When I used to stay in Jaipur, this is what I felt. This is what it looked like, right? They will always refer to a place which they are associated with or they have a story towards it. And last, the event marker. The event marker people will either connect to the event in their life which has happened or an event which has happened in the history. Right? So they will always go back to when the World War II happened, all these things were like this. Or when the flu happened at that point of time, this was the situation. Or when my friend got married 10 years back, this was the situation. So they will always go to events. Right? So why this particular, I'm telling you these 4 things are important is because if you can find out what kind of person are you, which of these connect to you, it becomes easier for you to take that next step on impromptu speaking. Now, once we have taken this particular step and we have understood what kind of person I am, the next important point comes in as how do I start speaking? What do I talk about? In what order should I say a particular thing? So for that, there are different methods that you can use. The first method, which is the most common method which people use, is called the chronological order. If I ask you to speak it at office, probably, if you are sitting in for a sales meeting and you are asked, okay, what do you have to speak about this particular subject? What this person would do is that this person would pick up sales numbers from this year to this year to this year in a chronological order. So suppose you are calculating 10 years sales, you will talk about each of these years. If you are talking about a life event, you will probably start with When I was a kid, when I went to school, when I went to college, when I got married, when I went to job, things like these. So this is what will be a chronological order. Most of the time, this chronological order can be used when you're introducing yourself to people, when you're giving a speech where you have to talk about yourself, or in general functions and events where you are talking about your life with a particular person. People can easily connect to these chronological orders, and they can mark those items in their mind that, okay, this is how the life went. This is how things happened. Another good way of doing things is point, opinion, reasoning, point. Or point, reason, opinion, points. Any of it you can use. Now, what are these things? So suppose I have asked you to speak on a topic which says, what is your opinion about the situation of kids right now? Do you think they're having fun having these online classes? What you will do here would be, you will pick up the point which you want to speak on, whether in favor or against it. That is perfectly your choice of what your view is of it. Then you will give a reason of why you believe, whether you want to trust that particular point or you want to go against that particular point. So you will tell a reasoning for it. Then you can also talk about your opinion about that particular thing, of what can be done, what should be done. And finally, you will come back to the point, making it a whole circle of what and how you connect with that particular thing and what are your opinions about it. There are also various other methods which people use, but the most easiest ones to be used in various situations are these two. Then there are people who would talk about cause and effect also. So if I tell you that there is global warming happening, suppose Akanksha has to speak about global warming. What Akanksha can do is talk about the cause, talk about the effect of it, and they'll tell whether it is good or bad. So it can also be a cause and effect. It can also be a pros and cons about a particular thing. There's so many various methods which you can use to answer any situation, literally any situation. And all these things I have practically experienced and experimented, and then jotted down these points of how these work. Now, there is something which I would want to ask each one of you, and I would want you to answer that particular thing in the chat box. Whenever you are speaking impromptu, how many of you face situations where you feel that you have blanked out, whether you feel that you have too many things in your mind, whether you feel that I don't relate to this topic, absolutely I am unaware of what this topic is, or why am I being asked to share it? Okay, so Akanksha says there are too many things on the mind. Now let's start with an easy exercise, and then we will go to detailing of how you can master this impromptu. And this simple topic and the concept is basically the 5 kings and the 1 wife. Okay, it's easy to remember, 5 kings and 1 wife. What you have to do is, you have to use the W words: what, why, who, when, where. You can also use which if you want, but mostly I don't use it. So you can use any of these 5, and a magic wife which controls all of this is H, which is how. So whenever you tell about a situation, you will tell about that event and how you felt about it. What was your emotion then? How did that happen? How were you feeling then? All these things is something which you can use to create a story. Let's practice it if you all are okay with it. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll give you a simple topic, and you will try to apply any of these 5 husbands or 1 wife, whichever you feel connects to that particular topic, and then we will take from there of what can be improved in that particular topic. Okay, so let's go ahead with we have Sanjay Sahu. Sanjay, you're there?
Hello. Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
So Sanjay, your topic is why do you feel you are a stubborn person? Why do you feel you're a stubborn person?
I'm not understanding.
Can't hear you, Sanjay. Okay, I'll give
did
you.
not understand.
I'll give you an easy one. Okay, let's start with the easy one. Your most memorable trip. Any journey, any trip that you have done to your hometown or anywhere which you remember. Try to use this. What was that trip about? Where did you go? What did you do? Things like that. Try to put them into the circle.
Yes, I remember when I visited Puri Jagannath temple when I was in child. That time my father was farmer. So my grandfather visited the Puri 2 to 3 times. He had tell me the story in about the Jagannath Puri. So I am very interested to visit Jagannath Puri. So one time he's going with his friends and grandfather. So I am trying to visit with along with them, but my father's not allowed me to go there with them. So I cried a lot. So after that, my father agreed to go with my grandfather. This is the most memorable trip in my life.
Okay, that's good. Okay, let's take one more person. Probably, let's go with Shrini. Shrini, are you there? Okay, we have Nabamita Sarkar. Hi.
Hi, ma'am.
So, Nabamita, your topic is one experience which you will never forget in your life.
Ma'am, would you please repeat once again?
Yeah, one experience which you will never forget in your life.
Yes. There are different type of experiences we gathered in our life. Some good experiences and some bad experiences. Some miserable experiences, some ecstatic experiences. So the one most miserable experience I would never forget in my life, that is the before my father's death, I won't take the right step, right decision for his treatment. I would go to the doctor, homeopathic treatment, and because of his negligence, my father I have lost him before his very early age. So that was quite grief and miserable and panic for me. But I couldn't forgive myself because of that time I was not so mature. I was not so good enough to take the firm decision. So that was the miserable experience I would never forget in my life. And I would definitely suggest everybody to take the right decision in such kind of circumstances. Thank you.
Thank you, Nabamita. Okay, now if I tell you, I give you 1 more minute of time to think and speak. Will your answer be a little different, or will your organizing of the speech be a little different? Both Nabamita and Sanjay, what do you feel about it?
Yes, if I could get 1 minute more, then might be my story will be more organized, definitely.
Right. And that happens because when it comes to a situation where we are speaking impromptu, our mind has us in a manner that we are not able to organize a particular speech. Why is this organizing important? Because similarly, when you're preparing a presentation or something, you will not abruptly speak from here and there. You will have a proper structure to it. In the same manner, whenever you are speaking impromptu in any situation, be it your office, be it with your friends, be it with your social gatherings, or any topic which is given to you, you need to have a proper opening, body, and conclusion to it. And the most problematic thing which I faced was I could either have an opening or I could have an ending. But I did not know how to collate all this and get to a stage where I am having a good opening when I'm speaking and a body and a conclusion. Most common reason for this was I lost the train of thoughts. Because of my anxiety, when I started speaking, I forgot what I was speaking about. Because of those jitters, I forgot what I was speaking about. And when I asked people in other sessions of what were the most common problems they were having when they had to speak on these impromptu topics, few said that I can't handle any situation which is given to me. It becomes very difficult for me to understand that situation. Why am I there? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to speak? Others said that the biggest thing is stage fear. If you ask me to sit here and talk to somebody, I can do it perfectly. But when you ask me to go on that stage, stand there and speak, I forget even if I know everything about that topic. Also, a very common idea was a state of mind. So somebody, when you're calm, when you're composed, when you're in a good mood, few people can speak quite well. At the same point of time, when they're not in a very good state of mind, they will feel that, no, I have terrible stage fear, I cannot talk about it. Now let's take it step by step of what can be done about these things. When it comes to stage fear, one thing which I applied and worked for me was counting till 3 and taking a deep breath. Now this might sound quite motivational and philosophical, something like a Ramdev Baba, but it really does work. Whenever, even for my contests, when I went for impromptu speaking contests, this was the thing which I did. I counted till 3 in my mind, I took a deep breath. And that gave me a little time to think and get that sanity back of what am I going to speak about, right? Second thing which helped me was bringing down the points. Most of the times, either we will not get any point or we will get too many points. So in a situation where you are not getting anything in your head, that is because you are too anxious. For those kind of situations, what you can probably do is have a few stories of your life which you can associate with different things. Maybe a story related to your office, a story related to your friends, a story related to your own life event. And I am not asking you to jot down 3 stories, 5 stories. No. Just keep remembering events that has happened in your life. Whenever you will need to face a situation where you're speaking impromptu, you will be able to get back because they will be on the top of your mind and not somewhere hidden so that you can't even remember them. And in a situation where you have too many thoughts, cluttered thoughts in your mind, what you can do is whatever first, second, third thought comes to your mind. Most of the people say that whatever first thought comes to your mind, speak about it. But trust me, my first thought is always foolish. If I speak that, people are literally going to laugh out loud. I know that's a good thing for humor, but I never do that. What I do is I get that 5 to 10, 20 seconds of thinking time. I see my top 3 thoughts or top 3 stories that have come to my mind, and then I select one. I never go ahead with speaking the first story that has come to my mind. Because of that anxiety, at times you cannot think logical at that particular time. But when you give time to yourself, you can. Now, few more questions which were asked was that I cannot connect with ideas. So when I was asked to speak in my office, I couldn't connect to the idea of what am I supposed to speak. What you can do about that is if you are in an office scenario, suppose you are called by your boss and he asks you, what is your idea about this particular project? Try to pick up key points. That is something which has helped me a lot. Now, what does this key point mean? Your boss is not going to ask you to speak for half an hour. He is looking for a creative idea. If you can pick up 4 to 5 points which were being discussed in that meeting, you can easily revolve your story around it. And by the time you are speaking, because you already have points in your mind, you will get to speak on the go after that. You will not be scared that I don't know anything. What am I supposed to speak? So there was somebody in the meeting who said this thing that I think Abdul said that I first listen to everything what is happening around. And then if I understand what is going around, I speak on it. Otherwise, I stay quiet. So next time when you face the situation, Abdul, don't stay quiet. try to pick up key words, key points, key insights that are being shared, and then you can discuss on what is being said there or what is your idea about it. Right? Similarly, when we go to social gatherings, at times we will be late, right? So if the gathering started at 9, we will be going at 9:30, and suddenly one auntie will come up, hold our hand and say, "Are you have come, no, come, speak, talk to everybody." And we will be all scared that what is happening? I have just come, give me some time, let me breathe. So you don't know what is going to happen, what is happening around there. What do you do in such situation? Or when you go to office, you are late for your meeting. You don't know what has happened in the meeting. What do you do in that situation? A simple answer which states, I will first have an overlook of what has happened, and then I would want to give my ideas over it. Because it is not always about speaking out. It is also about when you need to bring in those points. The part at which you need to bring in those points are extremely important. Okay. Now, one thing which I would want you all to practice now is think of one life event of your life. I will ask you a question and you see how you can relate that particular life event to my question. Okay, so I give you 10 seconds. Think of any life event, any 1 or 2 or 3 life events which you feel are important to you. Think of those and let's see how you can connect with anything literally that comes up. Then you can show a thumbs up or a raise of hand, whatever you want to show. Okay, so this time let's go to Dr. Rajeshwari. Do we have Dr. Rajeshwari here?
Yeah.
So Dr. Rajeshwari, I give you a situation and you have to connect it to your life story. Okay, your topic is honesty is not the best policy. Now, before she starts, everybody, please pay attention to the point which I'm going to say now. If you do not feel that your story, which you know or connect with yourself, has anything related to the particular topic, search for keywords. Search for keywords. So if I say honesty is the best policy and you do not know how to speak on that particular topic, pick up a word which you understand. If you feel honesty is the word which you would want to speak on, perfect. Go start from there because that's where you will start building your story. Okay. So Dr. Rajeshwari.
So honesty is not the best policy. When we say that, all the different values come into our mind. We remember humanity is nothing but it's a combination of different values. So honesty is also one of them. I remember an incident when my husband was admitted to the hospital, and the hospital was giving so many bills which were already overrated. Because me being a doctor, I knew, and there was not a feeling of fraternity too. At that time, I came to know that honesty, which we all appraise, is somewhere lagging. And at the same time, when their policies didn't accept my treatment too, because I was asking for a homeopathic treatment to be given to him during that time. And that policy was not there in the hospital. So that again, at that time, I felt that is honesty lagging there in the policies? Because a human being has to be given all the rights of the choice of treatment. So this is what I want to say about honesty.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Rajeshwari. Now, taking your example, let's try to understand of how we can make our impromptu speaking beautiful. Because you know what's beautiful sells. People love listening to it. And the best thing is that people love listening to stories. Everybody of us since our childhood have loved listening to stories. So if I say the same story of Dr. Rajeshwari in this particular manner, my husband was admitted into the hospital. With those overrated bills, I was exhausted. Being a doctor, I was totally aware of how much they are charging for the things which don't even cost that much. Even on my request, they were not allowing me to give a homeopathic treatment, saying it was their policy. But aren't we free to decide what we want to do for our loved ones? Shouldn't they be giving an option to me to decide? I believe that there are times where we don't need to be honest. At times, honesty is not what people are following. At times, the honesty is not what I would like to follow. So if we convert the same topic with a beautiful story opening or a quote or something which immediately strikes the people, you have gathered the audience attention. We all are speaking to gather attention from audience, right? We all do that and we all love it. When we speak on the stage and 100 people clap for us, one of the best feelings, I must say, right? So what you can do is whenever you are starting to speak on a topic or an event or a situation, start with a story or start with a quote which you feel relates to it. But the point here is if you have already been given a quote, do not get another quote into it because you've already been given a scenario. Now, when I have told you about stories, there is a very, very important point which you need to keep in mind. There are two different methods in which you will be doing this impromptu speaking. First is where you have been given a topic already, which means that you have already been given the idea, the motivation, or the conclusion of that particular subject. What you have to do is go the reverse method. Create a story which brings you down to this conclusion. Never start from that particular thing because that is something which has already been told. And many people say that probably repeating topic gives you time. But trust me, most of the people understand that you are just buying time by repeating a particular topic. All of us understand that, right? Otherwise, why would you repeat a topic which has already been told 2 or 3 times to you? So take that topic as the ending, as the conclusion, and go reverse creating a story there. Second situation, which a lot of us face. Our kid has suddenly asked something, we don't know what to speak. Our boss has suddenly asked something, we don't know what to speak, and we don't even have a solution to it. There is no idea which has already been given. There is no ending which has already been given. What do you do there? First, select the kind of person you are. Second, select an event or a story you would want to relate to. And third, if it is not a sales presentation, other than sales presentations, you will need to tell them technical stuff, you will need to use data, you will need to have that kind of ideas into it. Other than that, if it is social gatherings, personal gatherings, or scenarios where you do not need to be technical, there is a very simple technique. Once you have created this segment, you know what kind of a person you are, and you know the story. You have to just weave a story with a concept in your mind of what I want to end it with. For example, if I am standing at my brother's wedding, I was asked, okay, so your brother is getting married, speak something about him. What do you think about him? So my whole idea here would be that I want to tell that my brother is a sweetie pie. My brother is a lovely kid. Assume this is my ending. So what I will do is I will first think of this ending and then I will tell the life events or the situations that have happened that relate to this idea. If I want to say he has been a naughty brother I will go back, I will fix this point. This is my idea of what I want to state. I will go back to the events which tell people that yes, he has been a naughty kid. Right? Similarly, with kids, this thing happens that we mostly try to make them explain the whole concept first and then go to the moral of the story. So a mother will first start shouting at the kid that this is what you have done, and then she will come back to the point, you were not studying. That is not how you're supposed to speak, because this impromptu speaking is not only about situations where everything is happy and you have to talk in a happy manner. It is about communicating suddenly. I think all the husbands will understand that if you are late from your work, what is the first question your wife asks when you come back home? Kahan reh gaye? Where were you? And you need to instantly find an answer, because you cannot tell her that I was at my friend's house. So you will find an impromptu answer there, right? Office mein bahut kaam tha. There was so much of work. You don't know my boss. He is literally putting files and files of work on me. When a wife buys stuff for 10,000 rupees and a husband asks, where did you spend 10,000 rupees? Don't you know how to do shopping? An impromptu answer comes as, do you think I am buying it for myself? I bought it for the kids. I bought it for the house, and there was a sale going on. Come on, I am getting one-on-one free. So these are also situations where you are speaking impromptu. And these are the most common situations which I feel in the house. Whenever I have to go out and my son suddenly asks me, Mama, where are you going? Oh, I am going to the hospital because I have to put an injection. I can't tell him that I am going for a coffee outside. So I will create a story. And this is exactly what you have to do. Filter out those first 2-3 thoughts that come to your mind. Weave a story around those thoughts. Understand what you would use. For example, I would say, Mama, aadhe ghante mein aa jayegi. Mama will be back in half an hour. You don't need to worry. I'm just going for an injection. Although I know I'm going to take 2 hours, but I'm trying to use numbers to convince my kid that it is not going to take long. Right? So these are the points which I understand. Now let's go back to practicing a few impromptus. Before we go to that, I will just brief down all the points which I have told you, and let's understand how we weave stories around this. Okay? So all of you, be ready with your stories, because we are going to have a lot of fun and games with it. Now, I know all the senior people would be thinking that why games? It is for kids. Why is she taking a kids session? But when we go to that, we will understand why. Before that, let me brief the points which I have already told. So the first point was, try to find the kind of person you are, number oriented, reference oriented, or probably pros and cons oriented, or people orientation, which means you always go back to people, attaching things with people. Right? So this is what you need to understand. What kind of a person are you? What are the different formats that you can use when you have to speak impromptu? You can go for a chronological order if it is a situation where you are going for sales targets, where you're going for some speaking in some weddings or stuff like that. Third, you can use point, reason, opinion, point. Point, reason, opinion, point. So you will tell a point. You will give a reasoning for it of why you feel it should be like that. You will give your opinion about it. Or you can give an example. You can also use it as prep, which means point, reasoning, example, point. So both the ways you can use it. If you have an example, use it with prep method, where you will say a point, give a reasoning for it, give an example of why you feel this thing is right, and then you go back to the point. Another method which I also told you was comparison, cause and effect relationship. Why something is happening? If you are feeling in a particular manner, why is that you're feeling, and what is the effect of it? So if you feel you are not good enough, why are you feeling that? If you feel a person is not good enough, or a person is extremely happy person, why do you think that person is like that? And what is the effect of it on your life, on somebody else's life, on a situation? And these are the things which you can, this particular method you can easily use in your official talks as well, that what is going to cause a particular situation and what can be the effect of it. So the first method I told chronological, second I told is prep or prop, whatever you want to use. The third being cause and effect, and the fourth being pros and cons. So you will tell a good point about a particular thing and a not so good point about a particular thing or a life event which you feel. It can be your emotions also, if you felt very happy about a particular thing or if you felt really sad about a particular event. So these are the different methods which you can use when you are speaking in public. How do you design the opening, body, and conclusion is something which we are going to practice now, because that gives the whole impromptu speaking a kind of a boundary which you would not want to go out of, right? So let us have a few topics, let us practice, and I will let you know on how you can improve on opening, body, and conclusion. For openings, you can use quotes, you can use stories, or you can also use a particular emotion which you want to portray there. Okay, so we'll practice all these three things for the opening first, and then we will go to body and the conclusion of it. So who will come? Should I have Ratul Dev? Ratul, would you want to take a topic? So Ratul, your topic is if I was what I was. If I was what I was. So now we are going to go to a little difficult topics to understand what is picking that keyword means, which I told you about. Remember, in any situation, pick the keywords. You can use 5 W's. You can use.
Sorry, my mind completely. I think
Okay, let's work on
completely
it.
blank.
So what do you understand with the topic? If I was what I was, what do you understand with that topic? Pick a keyword. Select your whatever keyword you want to pick.
The keyword here should be what I am.
Right. So this topic would speak about if I was what I was, which means that if I was the same person which I was before. Now, how do you understand such kind of topics? If I was, you will break it. Do not read it as a continuous topic, because that way you will always be confused with words. Break it. If I was / break here. What I was. Now can you understand it? So this is a very, very interesting concept which you can use for topics wherein the idea is what you are not understanding. Break it into pieces. Okay. So now can you speak about it? What if you were the same person which you were before, if you did not change?
I think I'm still not prepared enough for it.
Okay, let's help you out a little bit more. Try to use the chronological method. Go back to your college days. What kind of a person were you? Were you same then? No, right? So when you go back into the chronological order, you understand that if I go back 10 years down the line, 10 years behind what I was right now, how was I then and how have I changed now? This is called the filtering of your ideas. First, you will break the topic. Then you will first see of which method you would want to apply. Chronological or prep or prop or cause and effect. You will filter that and then you will go back according to that order. So tell us something about how you were in the college and what has changed now.
See, my issue is, I mean, this is something that I faced in the previous some of the table topics where the question is so open-ended It's that there are so many things that comes to mind that I struggle to pick one particular line of thinking, because again, the same question, what I was 10 years back and what I'm now, there has been so many different things that has changed, and which one should I pick and which one should I talk about?
Right. It's a
I
very good
always get-
question and a very important one, which I will tell you an answer now. I wanted somebody to pick up this question because when you have too many thoughts, this is what happens.
Sure. So I think
What
somebody
you
has
need to do
volunteered in the chat box to pick up the topic.
Yeah, I'm Prarthana. Can I take this topic? Because
Yeah, just 1 second. Pratna, I'll just come back to you. So, Ratul, when you face a situation wherein you have so many ideas and you do not know what to speak about, a second level of filtering happens. How? Either you will talk about the kind of person you were, right? You were probably very open-minded, you were probably rash, or you were probably soft-hearted, or you were probably emotional. So decide on one particular aspect, only one particular aspect, because open-ended questions are the most difficult to speak about, and that is why we say only one story at a time. So pick up only one aspect of yours which you feel is the strongest. If you feel that I am an emotional person, I was a very emotional person when I was in college, but now I know how to manage my emotions. I was a very rowdy kid or a spoiled kid when I was in my school time, but now I am this. I am more mature, or probably something like this. Or when you take a topic like this, if I was what I was, then probably you would say, if I was the same rowdy kid now, probably you all would not be talking to me. So pick only one aspect, only one emotion, only one feature of yours when you're speaking on such topics. Never go to too many stories. This happened, then that happened, then this happened. Don't. Only one single story.
Sure. So, in one of the previous table topics, somebody asked me a similar question, that what is one of the fond memories from your school life? And I immediately got confused because so many memories came to my mind and I was unable to pick which one to pick. And I've noticed that in table topics, when the topic is, sometimes there's quotations or lines or topics given to me where I already have some idea about the topic or I already have an opinion, I do fairly well in terms of communicating and weaving a story around it. But when it comes to these open-ended questions, especially which relates to memories and old childhood things, and that's when I get bombarded with too many thoughts in my mind, and I'm unable to pick one.
Yes, that's a very, very common thing, Ratul, that happens. And I'll tell you a secret for that. When somebody asks you a fond memory of yourself, or an unforgettable experience of your life, or probably something which you did not like at all, or stuff like that, remember that only you know that you have so many fond memories. You can literally pick any single memory, and when you are telling it that it is your fond memory, they do trust it because they don't know other memory of yours. Most of the time what happens is we go into filtering feature wherein we feel that no, this is more important, no, that was more important, no, I think my college life was more important, or probably my school life was more important, right? But this is something which only you know. A listener is only there to listen to any story where he gets to know you.
So in that case, would it help if I say shortlist a couple of
yes, you can. You can. There are few people who say that you can shortlist stories and keep, but that limits your idea of trying something new. At times, when you're sitting right now and thinking of a story, you might get 10 different stories in your mind. But when you sit after 15-20 days, you might get some other 10 stories in your mind. Then what will you do? And at that point of time, because of that emotion, that idea that you have in your mind, or that experience which you are going through, you will find some other stories to be more important, some other people to be more important in your life than what is it now. That is why whenever you get a topic, whenever you get a situation to speak on or a proverb to speak on, do not go with the idea that I have 10 stories. Pick up any one story. It doesn't matter. Because only you know that you have 10 stories related to it. The person who's listening absolutely has no idea. And we will trust you that yes, if you are telling this is your fond memory, it must be your fond memory. Right? And this is the exact point which I told in the start that I will come back to. Filtering is important. And by that filtering, you come down to only one story. Pick any story which comes to your mind. It should just relate to that topic. If it doesn't relate to that topic, rotate it in a manner where it can relate to that particular topic. And if you feel that for the start, you are comfortable with the concept of having pre-decided stories, probably you can do that. Select a story for motivation, select a story for inspiration, select a story for fond memories, and select a story for painful experiences. Select these 4 or 5 stories from your life, and you can literally speak on any topic that comes in front of you. That is only for the start. Once you keep practicing it, do not go over that. Then keep your stories open-minded, because then you will have hundreds of stories where you will learn how to filter them. Okay, so we had Vishal Thakur. Okay, somebody.
It's my son. Sorry, I have some camera problem. I am Pratna speaking.
Yes,
so, yeah, could you please just repeat the question which you asked, open-ended question once again?
So, if I was what I was.
Yeah, so the moment you asked me that question, immediately it stuck to my mind, because this question came multiple times in my mind. So I would like to narrate a story. It's not a story, it's a real story, what I would like to share with you all. When I was a small kid, young girl, I used to be very extrovert, very talkative, and so quick enough in grasping the things. And people used to say, you just send her to a movie, one ticket you purchase and you send her for a movie, and we can save 4 tickets, because the way she narrates the entire story right from the beginning to till end. So that's how I used to be very brilliant. I'm not just boasting myself, I'm telling you the way I used to be, like very extrovert and very impulsive, and like I used to feel like talking, expressing my idea, sharing. So it was the time till 9 or 10 year age old. Then later on, I was asked to talk less. The discrimination started at home, and that is the tuning of a girl to become like very docile, and they wanted girls need to be very docile and they have to speak less, and that's how the training was given to me. And people used to tell that ladkiyan zyada baat nahi kar sakte, please talk less, kind thing. So that's how we are being trained and tuned for a couple of years. Then later on got married, and it worked out very well. Seems to be like very very sincere and obedient and very polite lady, and it went on like that. The moment when I got into profession, and I had to give my services, and I had to showcase my talent, and I had to interact with many people, then the demand of the situation was I had to speak, I had to interact, I had to become extrovert, not like an introvert and stopping myself. Then multiple times I thought I would have been the same person like who I used to be like, when I was a small kid. So I was speaking to myself, Pratna, that character is there within you. Just you have to shake up, and you have to again tap those skills. So this quote, when you mentioned, immediately it stuck to my mind that we all have multiple personalities within us. Sometimes forcibly we change our personality, we change ourselves according to the situations, but again one point of time we recollect, and what if I would have been the same again, once again in the life. So this is that exactly the same thing which multiple times it comes in my mind. So the moment you raised this question, immediately I got this idea. So that was the story.
Okay, so when I'm coming to the end of this session from my side, I had kept something to myself, which was an example. So I will give you example and somebody from you will tell me what is the difference in it. Okay. So give me one topic, any one of you give me one topic and I will give you two examples and you have to find out what's the difference. Can somebody give me a topic?
Can I?
Yes, sure.
How can you overcome fear?
Okay. So now listen to these two things and let me know what was the difference and what was the method that I followed. Okay. These are the two things which you have to notice. Fear is something which is in our mind. We decide what we need to think about that fear. We decide what kind of fear we will be creating. You, me, everybody creates their own fears and we never try to overcome them. Our brain always keeps creating these fears and keeps us in the loop where we cannot go out of it. Okay, this was the first part. Now listen to the second story. A 6-year-old kid I was scared to drive a bicycle. I was so scared that how much ever my mother tried, I would never climb that bicycle to ride it. I will run away kilometers and kilometers, even if she said that I will hold you. One fine day, my mother came to me and said, if you don't overcome your fears, you will never move ahead in your life. You will never learn new things. Bicycle is just a very small thing. But there'll be so many situations in your life where you will need to overcome your fears. Do it now, or you will never be able to do it. So these are the two aspects. Can somebody tell me what all were the difference? So you have all played that game, right? Find the difference. You have to find out the differences which were there in the method which was followed.
Can I try once?
Yes, sure, just speak.
Yeah. So in the first take, you took the keyword fear and you went talking about that. While in the second take, you narrated a personal life event and you explained that.
Right. And?
That's it. So I believe you used that method, prep method, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
Can I take that?
Yes, Rashmi.
Last you said conclusion. Your mom said, if you are not come out from fear, it will never, you will not improve your personality. So that's a very nice conclusion. So you take away from your story.
Right. And?
So what can I? Sorry.
Can I take in?
Yes, yes. Pardon.
So I felt in the second one, you also took the cause and the effect as well. Wherein as your mother has given a reason out that you will, you have to, you try to ride the bicycle and overcome the fear. If you don't, the effect would be that going forward, you may face challenges in life. And it will be a bigger challenge for you to overcome those challenges and the fear as well.
Right. Okay. So we have found out so many differences. I think you all are very good with that game. There are a few points which I would just want to add for the conclusion. First thing which I did in the first format was using philosophy. Right? People get bored with philosophy. They can listen to 1 or 2 lines and after which they would feel, we have read all this. Why are you telling us this? Whereas the second story was a life event where I was talking about myself. It was something new for them to listen to. Something which they don't know, which they have not heard before. So whenever you go to any format where you have to speak suddenly, try to use a story or how you connect to that particular situation. Secondly, I mixed different formats. I used chronological order in the second, where I went back to me being a 6-year-old kid. I also used the cause and effect method, which told me that if you do not do it now, you are going to face challenges, which tells me that once you keep practicing table topics, or once you keep practicing impromptu speaking, you can use multiple methods in one particular situation also. Right? So it is not hard and fast that you have to use only one method. And third, and the most important point, which even Prasna talked about, was that it was more, no, it is Subbu who has written that the second story was more motivating. Why was it more motivating? Was because you felt one with me. You went back to your childhood. You went back to situation when you started learning cycling. Whereas a philosophy did not give you an idea. Where do you need to go? What do I need to do by listening to this? It did not shuffle any emotions in you. It did not connect to you. And that is a very important part in impromptu speaking, because you have limited time and you have not prepared. Find out stories which connect to common man. Do not go to Einstein. Do not go to Martin Luther King. Do not go to people who they do not directly connect to. They will connect to you. You are a common man. You and I are the ones who are sitting here. I would love to listen to your stories. Do you fail in your life? Do you have problems in your life? Do you face situations just like me? These kind of topics connect very well with the audience when you're talking impromptu. Similarly, where you are into social gatherings, search for a common problem, which all of them are facing, and tell them that you are one of those. Right? For any kind of impromptu speaking, the problem that we face is that we try to find complicated situations, complicated stories, and we feel that till the time we are speaking something extraordinary, we are not good at table topics. But trust me, for my contests also, I have spoken the most common story. When I went for my district contest, the story I said was of a beggar whom I made to cross the road. That simple a story is what connects to people. So and it will keep you at ease, because when you're trying to find complicated situations, you are not at ease. You cannot speak well on it. So whenever you're writing stories, write very simple, easy, day-to-day life connecting stories, and you will be amazing. So with this, I come towards the end of this particular segment. If any one of you has any questions, you can ask me. And I am also posting a link to our WhatsApp chat group in the chat box. If any one of you is joining us for the first time, we keep many sessions on motivation and other aspects. So you can get an update of these sessions there. Any one of you has any questions?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Sanjay.
You mentioned that you have to practice for impromptu. How do you practice, ma'am? You make the videos or?
Yes. So most of the times you must have heard people saying that stand in front of a mirror and practice public speaking. Practically speaking, I find that to be the worst way, because our mind is tuned to look of what we are doing, not in a manner of judgment, but just that we are doing something. So I totally support the idea that if you have to practice impromptu speaking or any kind of, if you want to speak on a particular topic, what you can do is you can go on Google, just put impromptu topics. You will get a huge list of topics there. Right? Decide an amount of time that you would want to speak, 1 minute, 2 minutes for the start, whatever way. Record your video and then look into it. Because when it comes to impromptu speaking, just like any other public speaking, your body language, your facial expressions, everything form a part of it. Everything adds to it. But when you're looking into mirror, you will not be able to consciously put an effort to understand whether all these things are going fine or not. So you can just use your phone and record a video and then see it. or you can probably show it to somebody. Any other question?
Ma'am, what about like if we are totally unaware of the topic given to us and we don't even get 3 seconds or 5 seconds or 10 minutes time to think? So how should we proceed? I mean, whether we should proceed with the topic or directly say that I did not get the topic.
Okay. So if there are topics related to science, technology, and things like these, how I follow my pattern is that if I am totally unaware of the topic, I will start with the fact that although I do not understand what this particular technology talks about, but then you can go on speaking of what technology has done to us. Right? There was one topic, sometimes you will get very uncommon topics. For one topic which I heard was that if Cinderella's shoes did not, Cinderella's shoes fit her, how did it fall? It is a very uncommon topic, at least for somebody who has never seen Cinderella's story or who has never heard who Cinderella is. How do I know whether the shoe fell or why did it fall? Right? An unaware topic. What I did here was pick up the word shoe. And then I went ahead with saying that don't we all try to fit into somebody's shoes? Probably she would have done the same. But at a point of time, we cannot go ahead with it. Right? So you can just pick up a keyword from whatever sentence you are understanding and then speak about it. If there are topics related to science, technology, or rocket science and all these things, be upfront, be clear, and tell it that I do not understand this topic, but I will speak about what I understood from it. Being frank never kills anybody. Trust me, we do it in contests also. And we do win. It's not that we don't. Because as a human being, you cannot know every single thing in this world. Right? So that's perfectly fine. Okay. So I hope that whenever you go to your friends' weddings or your office meetings next time, you will know how to pick up keywords when you have to speak about something, and you will know how to form a story when you're going to your friend's wedding. Please do not create stories when you're in your office, because your boss will not understand it of why you are doing it. Use facts, numbers, statistics there. Use chronological order in any kind of corporate presentations or probably your social gatherings. You can use cause and effect kind of a scenario where you are expected to talk on social topics. Okay. So I really hope that this session did help you out. And I would now call Rahul if he would want to add a few points here.
Tada, I'm here. Hello everyone, good evening. And I was listening to the technical aspects about a lot of points that Pragya was telling, and not much to add on the technical aspects, but I thought I'll add about, because in the real world, in the normal conversations, it won't be about you being given a topic, but about the normal conversations that we have with people. And so I thought I'll just add a few 2 or 3 pointers, and then we'll close the session for today. The first and foremost thing, while you're talking to someone, while you're interacting with someone, when someone is telling you or asking you something, the first important rule is, what I follow is a 5-second rule. If I give you a topic, or if I'm asking you something right now, we are in an urge, a desperate urge to respond quickly. And that's where the biggest flaw starts in our impromptu speaking. Use the 5-second rule where you're giving a pause to yourself. We often do not even realize how much is 5 seconds. If I were to just give you a demo right now, this is 5 seconds. Next time when you're trying to speak, whenever you're interacting with someone, when someone has asked you a question, just put yourself and understand your pattern, the way you're responding. You might be thinking that I've taken a pause, I've taken that 5 seconds, but the reality will be that you would have responded in 2 to 3 seconds, not using the pause to settle the anxiety which you have and then respond accordingly. So that's something which is very important. And why I say that is because it's okay to be perceived as dumb for 5 seconds than to just make it certain by speaking without being sure what you're speaking. Let me repeat again. It's okay to be perceived as dumb. People might think he doesn't know anything. Why isn't he answering? While you're just organizing your thoughts in your mind. The idea is once you are clear in your mind, then when you speak, people will value it. Otherwise, if you don't use this 5 seconds and organize your thoughts, you'll be assumed as dumb for the way you're speaking, not for that 5 seconds. So use that 5-second rule. The second thing and most important thing, we have talked about the idea about how we have to organize our thoughts and talk, the way we have to organize our thoughts. The underlying assumption of that is the thoughts are there. And what are thoughts that we are referring to over here? We are referring to stories. Every day, today, if you look back at your own day, this single day today, you'll find at least 3 stories that you can create or you can build upon. But the problem is we don't talk about stories of what you saw at that signal today morning is something that you're not going to talk, or what has happened as an incident of what you felt, or what you have seen with your employee, with your colleague doing something, which can be a story for you. But we do not discuss that. We do not build over something. One of the habits which has always helped me building over my stories is writing or speaking about them. Either of the techniques help us in building an idea. Today, while standing at a signal, I saw a beggar not asking for money. He was selling a pen. Isn't it dignity to labor that he's expecting rather than expecting some money from you? While he could be selling that same pen at 10 rupees, it could be 2 rupees extra that you might be paying. But the fact is, he still wants to earn that money rather than asking you for that money as alms. This is a story that can be built up while you're talking about it. Otherwise, 1 week later, you won't even remember the story. That's the power of creating stories, a repository of stories for yourself, so that these are stories that will come back to you whenever you're talking to someone or interacting with someone. Otherwise, we are often blank. We are often blank with the lack of ideas that we think. It's not that if even for someone as Akanksha or Shreya, who are 15 years old now, they have their entire 15-year period where they have stories, so many stories, just that they are not aware, or it's not in their conscious top of the mind. Or for someone who's as old as 50 years, Uma ma'am, she has an entire life history, and you say you can't talk about a topic, is because not that she doesn't have an idea, is because it's not on top of the mind. It has gone down into your subconscious mind without you trying to cement that idea. The more you talk, the more you discuss about these ideas, that is where your repository of ideas, the go-to point for any topic, any idea being discussed, becomes it's formed. Like that's how it is formed. And finally, in the normal conversations where you're not talking about giving a topic or standing up on a stage and talking, when you're talking about interacting with people, the more dimensions, the more perspectives that we add to the way we think, the way we listen, the way we read, the dimensions which are added, and that is what Speak Up Club has been doing for the last 58 sessions now. The dimensions that you listen to and understand and appreciate gives you the confidence to talk to anyone. With whatever perspective being shared, you have an alternative perspective, or you have a supporting idea to discuss about that perspective. That strength comes only and only when you have built the ability to think on different perspectives. So the same topic that Pragya was talking, honesty is not always the best policy. You could have 4 examples on the for side of it, or 4 examples on the against side of it, driven by your stories or what you've heard from others. But they are all perspectives that we are building based on how you're listening to so many things, reading to things. That's how you build your dimensions, and you as an individual will always be heard, whether it's impromptu or prepared. You will be heard if people appreciate the perspectives that you bring to the table. That is the most important element in impromptu speaking. The more diverse your thoughts are, the more perspectives you have, the stronger your ability to interact with people, impromptu or prepared. So with that, I come to the end of the ideas that I wanted to share beyond the technical points that Pragya shared on the way you can think and improve your public speaking, your impromptu speaking skills. Hope you'll work on deepening these ideas and the techniques through which you can improve your impromptu speaking skills. And with the ideas that I shared, you could work around possibly on this thing, that how do you build your content? How do you build your thoughts? How do you build your stories and dimensions? So these two perspectives can help you in building on the impromptu skills. So any other anyone would like to share any feedback for the session about your thoughts on the session?
Hello, Rahul. This is Pratna.
Hello, ma'am. How are you? Good to see you here today.
Yeah, it's the first session which I'm attending, but I really liked. I forgot her name. Sorry. Pragya. Yeah, so even Pragya's points were very valid points, and technically she has given all the points related to cause and effect and 5W words and how and 5 kings and 1 wife, the way she presented. These all the points are technically very informative, I must say that indeed. And the way you sum it up everything, that is also adding value to it. So the first session, I'm really got impressed with that. It's very good time which I have spent with you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pratna ma'am. Just to inform everyone, Pratna ma'am is one of the senior members of a very reputed school in Hyderabad. I can't take the names here for.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Anyone else would like to share any feedback? Otherwise, we'll close the session. I've shared the link. I've shared the link for your feedback for the session. If you're not comfortable in speaking up still after all the ideas that Pragya spoke about with the impromptu skills, I would like you to still take a chance.
It's wonderful, actually.
Thank you, Dr. Rajeshwari.
Sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead. I'm all yours.
Yes, the session was very wonderful. All the different tips she has given, Pratna has given really very practical tips actually. And I am a professor. You know, professors are, you can say that they have lots of time talking about the relevant topics, so the technical topics. But when it comes to interpersonal skills and all that, that's where especially medical doctors, they fail in the communication skills. They lack the soft skills.
Yes,
so there are very few doctors who are real good orators, they can speak on different topics, but coming to the medical topics, they are perfect, but other topics. So when I listen to all this, I got some good ideas too, and I think I'll practice on this. I am planning for TED Talk, so let's see how it goes.
Wonderful. That's
thank
so
you.
nice.
I just liked your Facebook. I just liked your Facebook page also, and wonderful. Nice. Thank you, sir. Thank you for this.
Thank you, Dr. Rajeshwari. I'm still proud of the fact that the medical fraternity, if they're not able to speak on the other topics, if they have their strength in the medical field, still proud of the fact that they are able to do that. Because if they're able to do that, everyone else is safe and we can still speak on other things. Thank you for that.
Correct. Exactly.
Thank you for taking the effort that you are here today. Anyone else, any other feedback before we close?
Yeah, can I?
Yes, Jaspreet, go ahead.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much, Pragya ma'am, for arranging such a wonderful session, such an insightful one. Like we got so many insights. I mean, even I had the question. I am already into the field of oratory, but still sometimes when I'm given a topic, an extempore or something like that, so I get confused, especially when I am unaware of the topic. So she has really shared some beautiful nuggets that I'm sure are going to help me in future, and I'll definitely apply those. And I'm really looking forward to more sessions. I actually came to know her from the table topic group randomly, though we have not interacted a lot, but I just love her style of speaking and so much to learn from her. That's all.
Thank you, Jaspreet, for those kind words. We have shared the group WhatsApp group link in the chat here, so do join that. That's a purely no nonsense group. Only the updates about the session, which will be done on Saturday night at 9 p.m. will be shared in that. Nothing else, no other promotions, no other good morning, good afternoon, or anything. So you can just join that group and stay there. You might find it silent for the entire week, but it will be buzzing on Saturday mornings. That's for sure. And this is a session that we have every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Thank you, Jaspreet. Anyone else, any other comments before I close?
It was an amazing session as always, sir. It's going to be really helpful to actually sort out the clutter in my mind and then speak about what is required. Because if I take the pause, it may seem embarrassing, but without taking the pause, I might get embarrassed even more. So that was something I could really learn from this, sir. Thank you so much, Pragya, for this session.
Wonderful. Thank you, Akansha.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm still learning.
Yes. Dr.
Yes,
Rashmi.
thank you so much. I'm still learning, and really wonderful session. No doubt about it.
The idea is how you start implementing these. That is where do share your feedback once you start doing that over the next week, 2 weeks, or 1 month. The way you start using these techniques, what changes are you feeling? And still, despite the implementation of techniques, if you're still handicapped, do share your feedback so that we can understand how we can make this much more impactful and do further work on the techniques and the way we are trying to work on building impromptu skills. Yes, anything else? Anyone else?
Before I was like how to speak on impromptu topics. I was scared all the time and I was confused, but through tips and which ma'am gave, it will help me in future for sure.
Yes, I'm waiting for you to sing and dance also in the same songs. Shreya is an Instagrammer and we have a lot of performances over there, but luckily Instagram has an audio background and you just have to perform in front of it. I'll wait for you to also sing or dance with sync while you're speaking. Thank you for that. Okay, so
just one last step, Rahul, I would want to share.
Yes, Pragya, go ahead.
Everybody, please remember, only you know how many stories you have. Others don't. We mostly think that if we don't tell our best story, we are not able to speak good, or we are not able to tell the right thing on that. But trust me, nobody knows it. I have experimented it. I have told my worst stories and impromptu speaking, and people loved it. What they see is how confidently you are telling a story, or how confidently are you speaking on that particular situation, and how beautifully are you connecting to that thing with emotions. A basic story like opening a door can create wonders if you just do it the right way. So don't go into complicated stories. Search for easy ones which you will remember, which you will connect to, and which you will be able to speak easily.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Akansha, I'm there. Okay. I'll close the session. And after that, we can stop the recording. Yes, Shubhadra ma'am, go ahead.
Excellent session. And Pragya, I could see the passion, the zeal. I know you are really fond of table topics and you're extremely good at it. And that was seen in your presentation. And really, I have listened to this table topics presentation so many times. I have been a Toastmaster for many years and I have listened. And I can see that yours was the best.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
And there are so many tips you have given we can take back home. And I'm looking forward for the recording, Rahul, because I need to go back to it and I need to take back those points and learn. table topics is always difficult. Impromptu speaking is always difficult. How much ever you learn about it, you keep forgetting. And I think you really gave easy tips. Thank you, Pragya, and thank you, Rahul, for thinking up. And as soon as I read this impromptu session, I was for sure that today Pragya would be the one who will be taking over. And I was looking forward to it. And Rahul, she didn't give
Subhadra,
you a
I'm
chance.
listening. I'm
You
listening.
had to,
I'm listening to this.
you had to pop it at the end and take over. That was little bit mean. You should have left it. Today was Pragya's day.
No. It's completely all her day. I
Yeah,
am not
just
here.
kidding, just I'm pulling your leg. But thank you, both of you. It was a wonderful session. And if the doctor has left, okay. But if she has not left, I think you should do the one which you have done, the presentation. I am sure that it would be helpful for her for when she is presenting the TED Talks. TED Talks, I mean, when you're talking about your own subject, it's good. But also the stage presence and everything also matters. Maybe you should take up one of those sessions in the future.
After we do a
Thank
TED
you both
Talk.
of you. Thank you, both of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
It's already 10:33. Let's close the session and then we stay back to have few more discussions if someone is interested. So let me close the session like I always do with the usual style. Saturday nights have never been this beautiful for the last 58 Saturday nights now. Thank you for the love that you keep coming back. It's an honor to be sharing our perspective, listening to your perspective, and gaining new perspectives. Thank you. Have a good night.